hello there, welcome back. Today I'm talking about Suspiria Remake. I did a video about Suspiria when about I think it was Halloween, between Halloween and Christmas I think. Can't quite remember if it was before Halloween or after Halloween. These things all kind of roll together and they're like this morass of, I did a video some point of this. So once I've done these videos I don't look at them again, so it's like, I remember vaguely I did it, but it's like, when did I do it again? Anyway, Suspiria Remake, which I've finally seen, and since I'm a big Argento fan, it may be interesting when we talk about the remake, both the good and the bad about it, because it's a likeable remake actually. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it either, but it's a likeable remake. It's not like a lazy one, but I would definitely place it in the camp of, it's not like a remake like The Thing or The Fly where they transcended, or Scarface, where they transcended the original and did something really unique with it and it really paid off. This is much more in the vein of like Cat People or the Psycho remake, where it's this weird remake. It's still tied to the original in lots of ways that it can't quite get beyond. But it's interesting because it's a director trying something. But it's a director who's, in these cases, the directors who weren't horror directors trying to make a horror film. And it didn't quite come off as a horror film or as a successful film. But there's lots of interesting things going on in it. That's kind of where it is for me. I mean, the big thing that goes against it, the really big thing that goes against it, is the fact that it's 2.5 hours long and it is made by a director that doesn't understand horror. Like, it's an hour too long. It really is. You really feel it, because, I mean, Suspiria had like a plot that could cover half an hour at best, and the rest was atmosphere. And this film is now 2.5 hours version of that, because it still only has a plot that could last half an hour. They try to add stuff to it, but it doesn't work as a plot. It's an atmospheric plot, that's all it is. It's a short story plot. It doesn't need to be 2.5 hours long. If there is a kind of feeling of the way the Hobbits felt, where it was like, am I still watching this? Why am I still watching this? How can this expand this much? There's just not enough there. There is that feeling of, I'm going to do an art house version of a horror movie, of a classic horror movie, and I'll see what I can do. There is that feel of it. Maybe someone doesn't understand horror. Because they try and deconstruct it so much, they end up deconstructing the meaning of suspense out of it. There's no central character. The central character doesn't do anything. Susie Bannion, played by Dakota Johnson, this one, she shows up the way Jessica Harper did in the original. She shows up, she's in the film for and spooky stuff happens. And she gets freaked out by a few things. This one she seems more ambiguous character. You get a bit more of a backstory, which you don't really need. Really. You just don't. It's nice if you have it, but you had to have had more of a meaning than they actually attached to it eventually. It just feels like it's a moody sequence the director wanted to put in. But if you lost it, all you'd be losing are a dream sequence or two that had some cool effects. That's all you're losing if you lose the backstory. You don't need the backstory. But it makes up, but all these dream sequences makes up the fact that she does even less in this film than she did in the first one. Like, the character motivation in the first one, the character investigation goes to other characters in this one. And it's not satisfying, because it's like you're going from character to character, but you don't have any identifying character who you're behind, so that when horrific things happen, you're affected by them. You just don't have it. I mean, Tilda Swinton plays two parts. She plays an old guy, and I think she plays three parts. There's other minor characters she does as well. You're watching it thinking, okay, this must pay off. She's playing three characters. It must pay off somewhere. There's a reason for this. Does not. It's just a director having fun with an actor. And the old guy character she plays, it's like basically a small character from what would be a small character in any film, expanding. You think there must be a meaning to this, there must be something, and there's no real actual meaning that couldn't have been put in. Actually, there's no real meaning. The character doesn't need to be there. there's lots of moody stuff and lots of real world history of Germans in the war and what happened to the German Jews and stuff, but it has nothing to do with witches or anything, and it just feels like, why is it here? It feels like, if you want to make a film about this, make a film about this, but don't try and put it into Suspiria. And why you get a obvious woman playing a guy? Because there's certain tip-offs, if you notice her playing it, like there's a point where she's eating, and she's eating in a very feminine way that a man would never eat that way, and you're like, I'm just looking at her hands because the hands look wrong. And the makeup is good, but sometimes the light hits in a weird way and you're like, makeup. It's just like, if you're going to have this character, hire an actor to play it, you don't need that. It's weird, but it's not weird in an interesting way. But it's also the character isn't needed. The character's there so that Tilda Swinton can play the character. And it's an outside figure watching, seeing all those problems in a school. But the character doesn't do enough at any time, nor because it's this aged character. There's never any suggestion this character can actually do anything of importance in the film. So that becomes a problem. There's just, narrative wise, it's a big mess. And then visually, they go against the style of the original. That's fine. I mean, if you're going to remake it, you have to do something different. If you just try to do what Argento did, it would have been a mess. But they don't have a new style that actually works within this narrative. All you get is lots of like realism and 70s, lots of 70s furniture that if you ever grew up then you'd know straight away. And a lot of clutter and things. Like it's an old world is dying, it's going to be replaced by this new 80s world. That's done well, but you're thinking, it was done better in I think A Tale of Soldier Spy. It was more interesting, more attached to what the film was there. And this one is like, it's there, but why is it so important? Well, you see the Berlin Wall in it as well. You're thinking this must be important, must be ready to place something in here. Nope, it doesn't play it at all. Because you're looking for narrative in a film about, in a horror film about witches, you think there must be a narrative reason why all these things are happening. No, it's a mood thing, but it's a mood thing that doesn't tie into the central thrust of the story at all. I think it was this film was influenced a lot by The Shining, but trying not to make it obvious. The way the school's designed feels very Shining-ish, mixed with bits of influences by the original. But there's lots of mirrors, there's lots of corridors, and it feels like they've watched The Shining a lot. Just the way it's the same aspect ratio and the way lots of stuff are framed. It feels like it's very influenced by The Shining, the way it's paced out. But The Shining tied all this stuff and all this ghostliness to a central problem, which is Jack Nicholson going mad. And it was a motor that kept all this interesting and creepy, and you're thinking, why am I scared of this? In this film, you have nothing to keep you going. You've just got these vague things happening, but you have no character attached to. There's nothing really going on that's really that motivating. So it's like, this is really interesting, but really boring at the same time, and it's too long. It's like, there's so many scenes you're thinking, why am I watching this? Why am I watching this? So it's very frustrating that way. But then again, it's also unique. It's something different you won't normally see. It's the kind of mess you won't see very often. And it is a mess, but it's an interesting mess. So I mean, I'm glad it was made, but I still don't think it was anywhere near as good as the original, or the sequel Inferno, which the ending rips off. It's kind of a remake of both Inferno and Suspiria. Because if you watch it, it's like, some of this plot feels more Inferno-ish, but it's not done as well as Inferno either. Because the actual pace and the way the story structure is much more like Inferno than Suspiria. But they don't have the set pieces of Inferno, and they don't have the driver of Suspiria, the original Suspiria. It's just this weird hodgepodge. They don't have the style of either, and they don't really have the motivation to really propel it. So you have these great moments, these great visuals, but when they do that, it's never backed up by anything. Then you have these acting scenes. The acting is good throughout, but there's a lot of sequences that feel like it's there so the actors can be acting. There's an actress from The Fourth Man, Renée Sojourner or something, I can't pronounce her surname. She's from The Fourth Man, a Paul Verhoeven film from the 80s. It's also a better film than this, that is absurd and funny and supernatural. Because this film isn't funny, and that film is also a lot shorter. And it's like, well, okay, yeah, you put the lead actress from The Fourth Man in to say, oh, I've seen some of these movies. But it's not as good as Fourth Man either. Because The Fourth Man made by someone who knew what he was doing in this genre, and this filmmaker doesn't quite get it. But it's fascinating to watch the mess, the same way Psycho was a fascinating mess, in the same way that Cat People Remake was a fascinating mess. It's like, they don't get the genre. It's very arty. I mean, it's not like the kind of boring mess you get something like Wolf, with Mike Nichols did, where he didn't understand horror at all and he was pretty boring with it. This is more of a weird mess, but it's an interesting guy who doesn't get what he's making. But it's still a mess. It's still like, oh, I'm watching something weird, but it's not delivering, it's not really getting, it doesn't get under your skin at all. There's lots of gore and grossness in a way that's not very interesting. I mean, the interesting thing is some of the same as the original, where most of the characters are women and the men are expandable. They're just not that interesting. That's fascinating, and the actresses are good, but the style and the content don't match up at all. It's like, it's just a misunderstanding of the basic material, and it's like, I want to do something different with this, but I haven't worked out what I really want to do. I've got an idea vaguely, and the script is going in this other direction that's not really, it's like, either should have gone even more away from Suspiria, or it should have been close to Suspiria. This middle ground just doesn't work. It's the same problem with Psycho and Cat People had the remakes. It's like half and half, it's not quite one or the other, it's just like this kind of fascinating disaster. But it is fascinating. So I'm going to stop there. I don't have anything else to say. I'll probably just start repeating myself. But it's worth seeing though. I think Amazon Prime put some money into it, so I'll probably come out there soon. It is worth seeing, but it's just kind of odd. It's an odd one. Not really successful, but it's worth seeing. So I hope you enjoyed that. I'll be back with another video soon. Okay, bye bye.